My dear viewers, if I remember right, in our last episode, we had read up to part with and part from. So part from, because I had to part from you. So now again I have come. Part from a person with a thing. Next is your put up. Put up at a place and with a person. Put up means to stay. You can say that my friend has come from Mumbai. He is putting up at a guest house. Okay, it is a place. And if you want to say person, it is with. You can say he is putting up with me. Whenever he comes here, he puts up with me. Because me is a person. Next is our point, to show. Point at a person to some result. Point at a person, that means anyone is selected, or you want to refer to someone, you point to someone. So that one is called point at a person. He pointed at me, he pointed at him. And if some result, you are talking about a decision or some list, it becomes to. Point at a person to some result. Quarrel. Quarrel also takes two prepositions. Quarrel when it is a person, you can say quarrel with. And when it is a thing, it is, you can say, over. Quarrel with and quarrel over. Suppose someone quarreled with you. You can, in one sentence, you can tell it. That he quarreled with me over a discussion. I can tell. See, my best friend quarreled with me over a trifle. Over a trifle means a very small thing. He quarreled with me. So that way it is. Quarrel takes two prepositions. Quarrel with and quarrel over. Next is our trade. Trade with somebody. Trade in something. Here also, you know, we had done something earlier also in case of deal. Here also trade means it is difficult to trade with him. Okay, I could not trade with him. That means the meaning somewhat coming tackle or to behave somewhat like that in something. So trade in something. So he trades in his favorite things like that. Retire. Retire has two meanings to it, takes two prepositions. Retire, one thing everyone talks about. Retire means retiring from a job, a service. You can say, I retired from service in 2012. So that is when your service is, on superannuation or anything, you leave that job, it becomes retired from service, retired from business, anything like that. But retire to bed. When you go to sleep, you can also use the word retire. Normally, I retire to bed at 10 o'clock. So after retire, the word is slow. Slow, the prakar use way, gote kahibare, gote kamare. Je kahibare tike slow, you can say slow of speech. And if someone is slow to take action or something, so he is slow at business, you can say. Okay. Then comes our word sympathize. To express sympathy. Sympathize in someone's danger. You sympathize. So sympathize, after sympathize word, if you are using a person, it is sympathize with. And whatever bereavement or whatever loss or whatever it is you want to say, that is in. I sympathize with him in his loss. Sympathize and condole, a verb condole also same thing. He condoled with him in his bereavement. bereavement, in the sense there was some death in the family, and sympathize also like that. Sympathize with a person and in his sorrow, loss or anything like that. Then reason. Reason takes two prepositions. Reason with a person about something. I had to reason with him. Means whatever you say he never agreed. So you had to provide your reasoning. So that is, you reasoned it out. I had to reason with him before he gave his consent. And similarly, if it is about, if it is something, so you can say about. Okay, he had to reason about certain things before they agreed. Now revenge. Revenge and avenge, there are two similar meaning words. Somebody told you something and you take that, you retaliate. Okay, in words or action, that is called revenge. And if somebody else does it for you, that is avenge. So revenge, whenever you are doing revenge, using the word revenge, revenge will take on and for. So revenge on someone, if you are using a person after revenge, it is on. And if you are using whatever loss or whatever injury or something, you can use revenge for. Then comes your useful. Useful to a person for a purpose. Useful to a person. Whatever thing you bought, it is useful to me. Whatever I gave you, it is useful to him. Whenever you use to, it is to a person. Then purpose, useful for a purpose. Yeah, like this is useful for writing, for keeping it for some use. So that is useful to a person for a purpose. Whatever work it will do, whatever purpose it's going to solve, that is your for. And disgusted. Okay. When you sort of keep telling someone and you are disgusted with it, you don't like it, that disgust. Disgust with a person, that you can say, I am disgusted with you. That means you kept on telling something, but someone never did according to your instructions. You say, I am simply disgusted with you. Okay, because you is a person. I am disgusted with my PA. Something, because he may not be reminding him some important appointments in time. And disgusted from a thing. So whatever works one does, and you are not happy with it, you can say, I am disgusted from his habits. I am disgusted from his failures. And one more thing, there are many, just I have told you the things which come in use. Pratidino jota use हुए, सेही गुड़ा को मु कहूची, नहले बहुत prepositions अच्छी कहया पाई. Suffer. Suffer from fever and suffer for follies. देखो fever or etc. Any disease, he is suffering from fever, he is suffering from a cold, it is suffering from. But follies means foolishness. That means you say, he suffers for his follies. That means he is so foolish, he will not correct himself. He suffers for his follies. Maybe he is an intelligent person. He suffers for his follies means he never got promotion or maybe something like that. Suffer for his follies. And this is all about our prepositions, and in our use, we always use these. These are the prepositions which come in use. Well, students, we have completed the portion we wanted to do in grammar. But before going in the next episode, we will go for the common errors which we commit while speaking or writing. But before that, I would like to go through the grammar portions once again, sort of to see whether we remember everything in short. Like first, we came to know about determiners. Determiners we use before a noun. You know noun is what? Name of a thing or person, or name given to a quality is also a noun. Whenever you want to quantify it, how much of that? So we have a different set of things for countables, for uncountables. So those, everything is with you now. You can recapitulate and remember. Okay? Next to it we read article. There are three articles, a, an and the. For a and an, we read about certain rules that though from a very early age we read it, then even we have some little complicacy at higher standards, and we sorted it out with different examples. And then we came to the list of the, where the is used, where the is not used. There is a list where the is used. If you remember, there are so many places where the is used. If you do not use it, it is a mistake. And there is another list, we cannot use the. Okay? Then came our subject-verb agreement. Subject-verb agreement, we have about 10 or 11 rules to remember, that our subject and our verb must agree. Must agree in what? Must agree in person and in number. What is a person and what is a number? It is known to you. You know it. Person, first person, second person, third person. And number, it is singular or plural. So, accordingly that, we have done many exercises. You will remember that when subject is I, if it is a present continuous, you say I am doing this. When it becomes a we, plural, we cannot say am, it is we are. Then if it is he, it becomes is. So on and so forth. And when we are using double articles, we mean two persons. When one article, it is one person. So accordingly we did everything. There are parenthetical, either or rules, everything. Because when in our next episode, we will go for the errors. These all will come. Errors will be basing on it. It may be an article error, maybe a verb error basing on subject-verb agreement or tense or anything. And then came our tense. After tense we read non-finite. Tense, you know, we already know now. By now, we know that first there were three tense, present, past and future, but now present and past are tense. Future is called future time reference. Okay? And in this, we also discussed whatever tense comes in use while talking, while speaking. Okay, there are so many uses, but we touched, we covered only the portion which comes in our daily use. Then you know that non-finite verb. Non-finite verb, there are three non-finite verbs are there. Three types means it is infinitive, gerund and participle. We have discussed various things about non-finite verb, and we have come to know that they are simply called a verb because their origin is verb. I told you that. They are used separately. Like participle is used as an adjective and gerund is used as a noun itself. It can be used as a subject, object, or can be used after preposition. Then tense we covered. In tense there are so many things to be known. Whatever I already told you that was in brief, in shortcut. Remaining there are a lot of other uses which also comes in use, but we discussed only which we are going to use while talking. And future time reference is also over. Voice, active and passive voice. Active voice and passive voice, and why it is required, that also we covered it already. And without passive voice, only if active voice, that also we will find it difficult to speak. And then narration, direct and indirect speech, we do it according to sentence. According to sentence, like 4 kinds of sentences are there, so 4 set of rules to make it from direct to indirect. That we covered, and why that is required, because when a speaker speaks, that is direct speech. When you reproduce that one, that becomes indirect speech. Okay. Then pronoun. Why pronoun is required also, at length we discussed that repetition of noun becomes a bit boring. Okay, it loses interest. There is no charm in the sentence. So we use it. Suppose Anil is the subject, we go on repeating it, so it loses that Anil is a good boy. Anil studies in PN college. Anil comes to me every day. So see, repetition of this word Anil doesn't look nice. So we will say Anil is a good boy, he studies in PN college, he comes to me whenever required, like that. So this is pronoun. And then in pronoun also, there are so many kinds of pronouns, and relative pronoun being very important because it is used in different uses, sentence constructions, joining of sentences with the relative pronoun, and relative pronoun is used according to your antecedent. We learned it. Then our preposition. That preposition, in recent classes we discussed, today also we discussed a part of it, that preposition tells about a relationship. It tells a relationship of 2 things, maybe 2 nouns or 2 situations, but whenever it is, we will use some prepositions, and preposition, some prepositions are permanently used, only one preposition, and very few verbs are there, they take more than one preposition. The verbs which take only one preposition, like fond, the moment you say fond, it is off. The moment you say abide, it is by. The moment you say comply, it is with. No problem about that. Students remember that. But when you are talking about, you are going to use a verb which takes more than one preposition, you will have to see the situation. That what is the situation, what we are going to use it, and after that we will use it. If it is a person, we will use something. If it is a thing, we will use something else. That we will have to remember. And next class we will discuss some very important errors. Errors are many errors, there are in total 700 or 800 errors. I have got maybe more than that. But I will tell you only 60 to 70 errors basing on parts of speech. That which common noun errors, which common adjective errors, verb errors, and all sorts of things, whatever we discussed, we will discuss about its error. Next class. So till such time, goodbye and thank you.